you adjust it. Okay. Let's see if we get to those, but nevertheless. Yeah, so.
I went in and did some more editing.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Terica. Peace to you.
Peace.
Yeah, what
Slide
it
on
do?
in here, y'all. Come on in. Mm-mm. No, this was G.S. Youngblood book, I think. I can't remember. I think it's G.S. Youngblood that was talking about this separation of light. Peace.
Okay.
Peace, peace, y'all.
Okay.
Peace, Janet. Peace, Daniel.
Man, what's good, everybody? Peace to y'all.
What's up, King's
King's
Corner?
Corner, yeah.
Look, y'all. Today is one of them days. We're going to go ahead and get started here soon. Peace, Glass
Glass Moon,
Moon.
what's up? Daniel, what's up?
Um,
Peace to you.
I'm losing my voice, as you can see. So, my daughter actually
She been
wasn't feeling
yelling at me.
well. It's not true. Our daughter was sick, and I nursed her to health, and I did so much energy healing on her. I think I just absorbed all of her symptoms. So as soon as she started feeling better, I started feeling sick. So I was like, okay, here we
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
But the show must go on. I'm pushing through, and we're gonna do the show tonight.
So thank you for all of your love vibrations.
Yes,
Without a doubt, yeah.
absolutely,
It's definitely well received.
absolutely. So as you can see by the title, this show is gonna be about birthing trauma. And the reason I felt like this is what we should discuss today is because it is my personal belief that a lot of us right now are healing trauma that we inherited just by being born. Okay? So it may
That's
have
deep.
nothing to do with you or something you've done in this life, whatever you are experiencing in your experience. Your experiences right now could be just a result of the trauma you were birthed into. So by entering into a 3D body coming from the cosmos, we sign a contract to accept this denser body, right? To come here, to be in this school called Earth, and to learn these things. And if that requires your consciousness to be transferred from one body to another throughout time, as you are having many incarnations until you check off all of those things in your soul contract. So right now, Peace Angel, a lot of us, what we're experiencing, feeling, and going through is because we are healing this ancient trauma. So for those of you who are like, I'm seeing these issues, but I don't know what it's connected to in my childhood, or I'm not really sure, like, don't sweat it. It very well could be this birthing trauma that we receive. And the way that I got on this topic, because we've been working on the 44-day reset, and all of those exercises, questions that you pose to your shadow self, that you also pose to your higher self, and you're communicating with all of these different parts of yourself. And so what it does is it's kind of like checking books out of the akashic library over what's going on with you,
Yourself.
about what's going on with you. It's like doing research on yourself. So, and sometimes we can belittle this practice, but it's very powerful. So in doing this, I was just like, it's just a lot of issues that I really cannot pinpoint. It
That
was
we deal
something
with.
specific, right? Why is that? And so just in meditating and talking with the ancestors and doing readings all this week, it came so clear to me, birth trauma. And
Yeah.
so had never really heard nobody talk about it, you
Yeah,
know?
that's right. That's right. Peace, sageism. Woman's love and life. Peace to you. Yeah.
Peace, peace, peace.
Yeah. Madeline. How do you
Peace to
pronounce
you.
that? Garrett, Garagapita?
Yeah.
Yeah. Peace to you too. 13 Elevation Station.
Peace to
Thank you.
you.
Love you too. Yeah.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over some information that I found when I started researching birth trauma, and I thought it was really profound. And I want to say this too. Another thing, a lot of healing is happening right now between the masculine and the feminine energy. And so if you're feeling more pressure than before to have this certain level of consciousness, just know that that's heaped into this birth and trauma as well, because we come into a world of duality, but we came from a consciousness that was based on oneness. So having to come here and have this duality and then have these systems we are born into that make everything be divisive between the masculine and the feminine, and it's always pitting your energies against each other, then it removes that oneness that your soul knows you're supposed to be experiencing. So that alone itself is birth trauma, and that's why so many people are wanting to reunite with their twin flame in a physical relationship, because that is that desire to work with that other counterpart of energy and to heal that. But I want to encourage you, you can heal both of those principles in yourself. So this information is what's going to help you to do that. I'm going to let Ernest read. I'm going to go get me a cough drop.
All
You
right.
go ahead, baby.
So it says when you enter this specific configuration of energies that makes up your birth family, your consciousness is wide open with hardly a sense of personal boundaries yet. As a baby, you take in your parents' energies very thoroughly, like a basic imprint that has a deep effect on how you experience things later. There is no filter yet. It is only much later when you become aware of yourself as yourself, roughly during puberty, that you grow the consciousness needed to sift through these energies and find out what feels good and natural to you and what does not. First, you attach yourself very strongly to the paradigm of your parents, and then as you grow older and gain more self-awareness, you start to question your parents' outlook on things as you are looking for your own self-identity. This psychological growth process is very much akin to the transition from ego consciousness to heart-based consciousness. The natural stages of earth life, the biological and psychological cycles and seasons correlate with natural growth stages in the spiritual sense. The transition from ego to heart-based consciousness often runs parallel with overcoming the limiting, fearful energies that control your birth family. The cosmic birth trauma that you experience when you are born as an individual soul is to some extent repeated every time you begin a new earth life. At the time of your birth, your parents belong to the energy of the earth. They have already adapted to this dimension, to the laws that apply here. Often these are limiting laws, which are not at all self-evident to the child. The parents thus represent the ego-based consciousness for the child, the energy of the three illusions. The child meets these through the parental home, and the way in which they have taken shape in the parents will influence the child strongly for the rest of its life. Especially in the first 3 months, the child takes in its surroundings very deeply. The energies of the parents sink into the child's consciousness unhampered by rational thought or defense. On the other hand, there is still a piece of heaven in its memory, a part of the child's consciousness that is untainted by the illusions, that knows love, mastery, and oneness as the natural state of being. This awareness collides with the ego-based energies around it, and this is a deeply painful conflict. It can make the child want to turn around and go back home. It can cause grave resistance to life at the very start. It is actually the cosmic birth trauma repeated over and over again.
And let me say this too. Right there, that is a depiction of hell or Hades. Having to be born over and over and over again and incur new types of trauma with each lifetime is what the Bible talks about, how the worm eats away but you never die, or you search for death and you never find it. That's what it really means. So my point is saying that is the 3D realm is one of the upper levels of hell. So we have been in hell and we have been growing and evolving so that we can anchor a new energy that is a higher frequency of what could be called heaven. So I just wanted to explain that mythology, because right there, this is a depiction of that. So that torture and torment that goes on and on and on and on in hell, well, that's us incarnating over and over again, having amnesia, completely forgetting who we are, don't know our authentic self, taking on the programming of our parents, i.e. what scientists now call epigenetics. Like, it's pretty cruel when you really look at what we have to go through. So that's why, I just wanted to chime in and say that's why we say that Earth is hell.
So how does the child handle this collision or conflict of energies? How does the child handle this collision or conflict of energies? Most often, it shuts down some parts of himself or herself. Some parts of the child's consciousness will go into hiding. The child will tend to comply with the energies of the parents, adapt itself to them, for it is wholly dependent upon them from the start. The child is in a very, very vulnerable physical state, and it has a great desire to be nurtured and loved by the parents. Its memory of the natural state of oneness, love, and mastery is actually the child's gift to the parents. But they are often unable to receive this gift because of the illusions they are thus unable. Parents have at some point been through watching this innocent little creature coming out of the womb and trusting itself to the world, so open and vulnerable, stirs a deep sense of awe in almost anyone. This sacred moment opens the gates to home wide open in the parent's consciousness, and they unknowingly reach out to the divine core inside of them that knows unconditional love and oneness. They enter a sacred space for a while, and they feel who they are beyond the illusions. But often this is a temporary state of bliss, because afterwards things will settle down and get back to normal. Their ways of thinking and feeling will tend to fall back into the patterns they were used to, and thus the opening to heart-based consciousness closes down again.
And this is when you've been on your spiritual awakening journey, and like you've been feeling good about the work that you're doing, and you just be really happy, be high vibration, you be out like 222, so 444, you be so excited, and then you go through this season of damn near, feeling like utter darkness.
Yeah.
A dark night of the soul.
Yeah.
Or a spiritual emergency.
That's it.
So that encompasses what happens there. It is a very up and down thing, but people have been proposing that it's like a up thing, awakening and ascension, but it's not.
Yeah, that's so true. So how does this affect the child? The child has an unbridled longing for love and safety, and when it stumbles upon fearful, blocked parts in the parents' energies, it will be confused by them.
Wait a minute, you skipped the part. It says, and what happens to the child that grows up? So this is why connecting to your inner child is so important. Check this out, y'all. And what happens to the child or inner child that grows up? Most children choose to adapt so strongly to the parental frame of reference that they lose touch with their original soul energy that they were still very much aware of in the beginning of their incarnation.
Wow.
In the first phase of life until puberty, they are involved in focusing themselves into this world and getting love and attention from their parents, and they themselves forget who they are. Wow. Like, is that not true for all of us, where we like having to figure out who we really are, what we really believe.
Yes, definitely.
And it can be upsetting to feel like you live most of however many years you've been alive on this planet and you don't know things about yourself.
So, and then when you go through the process of um, practicing reparenting yourself, there's a whole nother aspect of spiritual emergency that you can possibly hit too. So yeah.
That's true. But like it's important for us to sometimes go back to the basics and work from there, because again, this is a very up and down thing. So let's get into how the illusion kind of projects itself through whatever your wounds were that you received as a child.
Okay. How does this affect the child? The child has an unbridled longing for love and safety, and when it stumbles upon fearful block parts in the parents' energy, it will be confused by them. It will experience pain and a sense of abandonment. But y'all hear these key words, okay? But it will hide these emotions from itself, shadow, because they are too painful to fully realize when you are in such a state of vulnerability and openness. Vulnerability, openness. What the child will do is put on blindfolds and create illusionary images of love. To survive emotionally, it will allow itself to be confused by the false images of the parents, because if unconditional love is not available, conditional love seems better than none. The child will generally bend over backwards to get the love and safety it needs and remembers from home. And therefore, it will mistake the wrong energies for love. For example, it will confuse love with a parent's pride in certain achievements or a parent's emotional need for the child.
Wow. And so, y'all, from the very beginning, when we came into this world, we were born to not know who we really were.
Yeah.
And this construct is starting to break down, which is why we're starting to get more comfortable with ourselves, getting more comfortable, or desiring to be more comfortable with your shadow aspects. But all of that shit that we experienced as children, we had to repress it, and we created these different perspectives of what love is based on our situation. So if your parents, if you had parents that worked a whole lot, would never really spend time with you, then maybe you have a fear of being abandoned. And so basically your parents' wounds led to the construction of the prison that trapped you in not being able to connect with the pure energy of love. It was tainted. And so to survive, all of us began changing our mindset to fit our environment. And once you have practiced that new mindset for so long, you don't even remember how to just be you anymore.
It's a program. It's you then under the program. Yeah.
And because it is because we experience this trauma as soon as we're born, that makes us more vulnerable to brainwashing and programming, because that's what has to happen first. The abuse and the trauma has to happen first. And what happens is that's kind of like seasoned salt, or kind of like meat tenderizer. And that kind of tenderizes the soul, right? Early, so that you become more malleable. And so basically what has been happening, like recently, we're being called a collective level to purge. I can tell by my dreams, because my dreams have been so vivid and just every night. And for those of us who dream a lot, especially, like, really start paying attention to what you're dreaming about and try to ask yourself what that dream was as soon as you wake up to recall that. because I'm finna say this, because the principalities and the powers, these rulers within the unseen realm that are the power source for these thought forms, these beliefs, these constructs that we are all trying to heal and break out of, they are very resistant to this ascension, awakening crystals energy, this alchemy that we're beginning to do. So the more that you observe yourself, the more that you become divided, where you feel like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And so
Yes.
the goal is to be able to interface with both and bring them together in a balanced way, where your service to self is first, and then service to others is just a natural state of being, because you are in alignment with the universe and you are in alignment with source energy, the oneness from which you came. So the more we figure these things out, what's happening is these thought forms are starting to lose power. So now all of a sudden you wake up and you see some shit for what it really is. And it could have been years that you've been seeing it one way, and all of a sudden you like, nope, this relationship is not, this is not what it is. This is not for me. Like whatever it is, this job, this ain't it. Like you be so sure and you feel it so strongly. And so that's those impulses that we get to help us to make decisions that will get us to where it is we're trying to go. But the issue is the ego.
Shocks.
Mm-hmm.
The clear.
The
shock you back into, you know what I'm saying, some awareness.
Yeah.
Back to life. Wake us up.
What you think some of those shocks are, like, personally?
I think a lot of times that the shocks are just those things that we experience that sometimes for us it could be like a damn, you know what I'm saying, like fuck, you know, something. It could be a mishap, it could be a accident, it could be something more subtle. It might not be something as dramatic or tragic, you know what I'm saying. It could just be a constant reminder, you know what I'm saying. The universe will teach us in so many ways and speak to us in so many different ways and everything. So man, for like I said, for me, you know, I told you, like I was riding and I started getting some shocks, and something like an attack. You know what I'm saying? I won't say it was just a full on panic attack or nothing like that, but it definitely was a bombardment of negative thoughts that start coming to me, and I realized that my heart rate had increased, and so I was like, hold on, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? And as I was riding, I just started to take longer breaths to re-regulate my nervous system for whatever the case it was. And yeah, that, you know, I telling you about that. I don't know what that was, but it caused me to be like, okay, all right, what okay. Everything that's speaking to me, you know what I'm saying, it's kind of like a checklist. What I need to get in order, the next move, the next steps. It was kind of like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
So for those of you who are in the program with us, Crypto to Christos, so this is one of the key factors in this birth trauma. What happened was the birthright that's talked about in a lot of ancient texts, even the Bible talks about this birthright, right? Like this treasure, this thing that we didn't see the value of and we gave it away for a bowl of soup, for sustenance, basically. That is a depiction of, like, we're healing that too right now too. See, we're receiving our birthrights, we're receiving our abundance, we're receiving our sovereignty. It's happening in the astral realm first, because of the energies on this planet. Then now they got the satellites that's putting a whole new energy fence around planet Earth, right? To block out these certain energies and entities that are here to assist us in the awakening, right? And then we have all of the 4G and 5G. So it's a lot of stuff that we have to penetrate through to be able to even vibrate at a level where you are freeing yourself from the 3D matrix. So I'm going to give you an exercise that you can do to help you to do that. So what you want to do is you want to take a deep breath, and you're going to fill your belly with this breath. And as you are breathing in, I want you to press up. So imagine as you breathe in, the energy comes up and shoots through your crown chakra, and let it go all the way out into the stars. And you can just kind of linger there in the stars. And then when you exhale, I want you to shoot your energy down into earth, all the way through every level of formation of clay, dirt, sand, whatever you visualize is up to you. And then go into the core of Mother Earth and wrap that energy around any crystal that you choose. So what this is doing, this is like tethering you, you know, so that you can have a more steady, focused state of being in that moment. And by you being grounded, and you also connecting your energy to the cosmos, then what that will do is that will clear out the channels. That will help clear out some of these blocks that come as a result of just birthing trauma, and clear out some of these channels. Now, I find myself doing this probably 3 times a day, and I've been doing it for months and months and months, and I just kind of wanted to work with it and see how it felt. And me and Ernest were studying a book together, and he gave an exercise that was really similar, which is what made me bring this up. And I didn't really realize that there was something that most people don't do or don't know about. So I'm sharing it because I didn't even know. Like, and just intuitively, I had been doing that before I even found a lot of other people who are gurus talking about doing that. It was just intuition for me. And so it's just one of the ways, one of my shadow aspects, and how I kind of, belittle my own greatness and not see it as a big deal. And that is a big deal. So that exercise will help you. That exercise will not only ground you and anchor you, because a lot of times, because of this trauma, we're not fully in our bodies. So you could be like 73% in your body, and all of the rest of you is just kind of lingering out in the ethers. And so when you're having a hard time being fully present, doing this work, healing all of this trauma, clearing out these generational curses, receiving DNA upgrades, like it's a lot of new energy and frequency that we're learning how to work with. And at the same time, it's a lot of resistance that's coming up from the inside of us and outside of us to the awakening happening. And so you don't want to find yourself in conflict so much where you just feel like you're at war with yourself, and so you're at war with the world as a result of that. Like that can become a dark trap on this journey of spiritual awakenings. So that will help ground you, and that will help create a bond with Mother Earth and with the Cosmic Mother. You're creating a bond and penetrating those 2 polarities, right? And so that's gonna give you more stability with your energy. And then in that moment, you can command what you want to do with that energy. But in doing this, just know that what you are doing is you're letting the universe know, I'm ready to expand. I'm ready to expand. By doing this practice, I'm showing devotion to my evolution. I am ready to expand. And so when I first started doing it, it was crazy, but I started noticing I was making more money, and I wasn't really doing anything different or even trying to. And I just looked up one day and just noticed, like, I'm making more money than I was. And it just kind of, and I was working with Lakshmi at the time too, but what I realized was the number one thing, it may not be money for you. It could be some other type of resource. It could be this pure love energy that you don't feel like you ever are able to receive back from someone. That's a form of poverty as well. And so what happens is, because of these birth and traumas, we feel like we're not good enough in the inside. We feel like we're lacking something. Sometimes because of this birth and trauma, again, no matter how good your partner is to you, just feel like they can't really love you enough. They can't hug you enough, hold you enough. It's just like something I'm trying to feel, but it's so deep I can't feel it, but I just can't help it. but keep trying to fill it up.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is us coming from that, that even create low self-esteem. You have a hard time having confidence in yourself,
Mm-hmm.
all of these things. So by doing this exercise, you're practicing and working with commanding your own energy, and basically commanding your Merkaba, that energy, that sacred geometry that is emitted all around us because of the electromagnetism within the human body, and our connection. So right now, also the sun is waking up, and because the sun energy is waking up, it's sending these new energy bursts to the planet as well to help us. So there are a lot of quickenings that are happening. So if your body is having physical symptoms, soreness, things like that, just do what you can to self-soothe and work with it. Another thing, this energy is definitely chopping at our egos for us to neutralize them, to stop allowing our egos to control our life.
Exactly.
And that sounds like the easiest thing in the world, but when it's happening, it's the scariest thing in the world, to be that open and vulnerable. So again, this is from these wounds from when we were born, and from our childhood, that we're not able to be fully open and fully surrendered and fully vulnerable. We're trying to maintain control, but go through the awakening at the same time. And it's just like trying to control the ocean. You can't, but you learn how to move with the energy and the currents. And with practice comes the practice of knowledge, develops into wisdom. You just have to keep doing it. You have to keep doing it. And as many times as you fall or you stop, you just have to make sure that you get back up and you start again. Just keep going. Don't be so attached to the outcome that you begin pushing out what is trying to flow to you, what is ready to flow to you. But you're so focused on what you can see, and you're so overwhelmed by what you can see that's telling you something different than what your heart wants. Well, then you end up rewriting your narrative, and you edit, you erase what it is that your heart is desiring to manifest, and put in its place for something from your programming of your lack, of your not good enoughness, your scarcity. And so we have to balance out this fluctuation between feeling inferior and being narcissists. All of us vary between all of them because this is a result of the cultural conditioning. So you go for one moment being Satan, the next moment you Jesus. One moment, like we're jumping between these polarities. You're feminine and then you're in the masculine energy. And so you try to be accountable and be a god and goddess of your reality, but then you running from accountability. Somebody better not accuse you of something, especially if they right about what they saying, but it hurts for you to face it. You just go get defensive. Like that's the ego doing all them little karate moves, because it won't change to happen. So it's not killing the ego, it's just neutralizing the ego, where the ego knows it's safe for you to chill. It's safe for you to chill. I got this. I'm sovereign. I'm making my own decisions. I'm not reacting the way I used to react to stuff, because that no longer serves me. I have free will and I choose how I react. And so by doing these things, this open up the channels so that you can feel so much love inside. You are able to relax and be vulnerable. And it may feel awkward at first. Me and Ernest do a lot of soul gazing to get into that vulnerable space.
Yeah.
And a lot of times he be smiling and laughing and giggling.
And that'd be the ego.
You do it more than I do.
Yeah, that'd be the ego. Yeah. I definitely do it more than you do. But that is coming into what being vulnerable is all about. It'll totally expose all of that. And like as we talked about it, the reason why I would smile is a form of escape. It's a form of deflecting, because you're allowing somebody to come into your space, and that's an uncomfortable feeling. And so it will. Okay, it's not a moment to get upset. It's not a moment to be angry. So you're not gonna have the emotion of anger or frustration or something like that. So the opposite of it would be to be silly, um, and comical and humorous and playful, something like a child. Um, but as we continue to do the practice, it the seriousness of it would dissolve all of the little childlike essence. And so then it's more about looking deep into and allowing yourself to be basically just filtered. And so there is, it's just as transparent as you can be. And so it's good. It's frustrating as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
Because the more you start to be aware of yourself, you will notice that you're like doing this bullshit more often, and it's not really that you're doing it more. It's just that you're triggered and brought stuff to the surface, and then you notice it, and you like, damn, like why I keep doing that? Why? It'd be little stuff, like apologizing 1,000 times a day. Like, why do I keep doing that? Why if I bump into somebody, I'm sorry, excuse me. Like, why do you do that? Like, people ain't even looking for an apology or whatever it is. Or maybe you want to be able to drive and not have road rage, and then it's just like, here I am, I can't even control my fucking emotions. How am I a starseed? And I know that I have a galactic heritage, and I've descended from this galactic heritage, and I can't even handle my fucking emotions. So, that triggers the ego. And the ego like, oh, you can't handle the emotions? The ego just like, okay, well, I'm going to take over, and I'm going to do that karate shit that I do. Anytime an emotion come your way that you can't handle, we're going to do all our defensive moves. Woo! Blaming. Projecting. I refuse to see myself. Denial.
Man.
No acceptance.
Oh.
The shit is, it's automatic. You don't have to think to do it. It just turns on.
It does. Blame shifting. Just, you name it. Some of those things will just come up out of nowhere. And the awesome thing is, if you have a partner, or you got somebody that you can share these experiences with, that y'all are like accountability partners, that's even better. You know what I'm saying? Because when you can't see yourself, that person can see you. And that happens for us a whole lot. That happens for me. Cam, she sees me so much, and I'm so grateful for it. Because it's like a alarm. The alarm system go off.
Yeah. Now, when you by yourself and you're doing this work on your own, because these are levels of initiation, so we're being initiated into different densities. And so certain chakras are like coming up as being the chakra that I notice we're focusing on. So like right now, it's been a lot of heart chakra and a lot of third eye chakra energy that I've been feeling would be very beneficial for us to tap into. So with that being said, this is why the shadow work, talking to your shadow self in the mirror, like mirrors are legit portals. And mirrors allow transcendence of the inner eye, the mind's eye. I know some of you probably have already done this, but we should be at a point where we can just interact with our shadow self, and it's just a part of our spiritual practice and devotion to becoming our higher selves. This is what it's aspiring to do and to be right now will have the most benefit for you. Now, I was talking about how to get rid of lack and that matrix and that programming by being more open, being more surrendered, being able to just let go and allow stuff to happen. You don't have to be in control of every single aspect of everything that happens, because when you start being a deliberate manifester, you think that a lot of us think that being a deliberate manifester means you have to control every little bitty aspect of what's happening for it to manifest the way that you want it to. And that's not how you manifest. You can't be a deliberate creator, but you're holding on to a form that is limited by your own inferior feelings towards yourself. It may want to come to you in a way that's just much more profound. or a miraculous way.
But you limit
You
you.
know, and so yeah, a lot of times we limiting ourselves. So ultimately a lot of this is coming up, so keep working on your own. Study the divine masculine and the divine feminine. Study how that shows up in your body. Study what does it look like when it's not balanced, when it's toxic. What does the toxic darker feminine energy look like? What does the toxic masculine energy look like? You know, start writing down if you need to, or, you know, save some notes and save like what that means, so that you begin to be more aware of what polarity of energy you're in. Because you cannot guide your Merkaba on this path of the awakening, and you don't have a gauge in which to measure your energies and how they move and fluctuate. The more that you know yourself, the more you are in touch with source, with that divine energy. And then love won't scare you so much, because ultimately that's what it is. Because of the birth trauma, because we all created our own love languages, right, based on our environment, because of all of those things, it's beautiful and great, but we're being called to a place where a lot of these constructs, we just let go of them, and we let go of the false morality, and we let go of the false self, and trying to be who you think people want you to be. And like we're coming out of that, where the universe is setting us up to have this liberation. So these are initiations that we are going through, and you can always see how it's showing up by paying attention to your ego, your shadow self, and your inner child, and just catching moments and being like, that felt like a wounded inner child moment right there.
Yeah, you saying it all. I was just gonna say that definitely be patient with yourself, because you will begin, the more and more you practicing this, you will begin to be more sensitive and aware to all of your triggers, all of the stuff. You'll go from, if you've experienced points to where you didn't realize you did something or reacted in a way, or expressed something in a certain way, you'll go to realizing it after the fact, and then you'll even catch it before it even comes forth.
Yes.
You know, we've experienced all of that. So
Yes.
yeah, definitely be patient with yourself. There had been the struggle for me, because I want to see, you know what I'm saying, we conditioned in this microwave society that we want stuff fast, right, quick, in a hurry. So you know what I'm saying. One thing about spiritual practices is that you can't rush it. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
because we're
The
being
lesson
told to
is,
slow it down right now, actually.
yeah,
To slow down.
Yeah, the lesson is definitely in the experience. So you know, we can't rush experiences. They're gonna come when they come.
So the thing to do is to slow down on how fast you are to be judgmental of yourself and others, to slow down your breathing, to
Yep.
slow down your thoughts, to just be still, be quiet, and just allow the energies in yourself to have that moment, and do the meditation and visualization that I shared with you. You know, you want to shoot the energy down below your feet into your earth star chakra, and then you want to shoot your energies up through your crown chakra and through your star chakra. So it's important that we do these exercises, because ultimately, in order for us to receive what's flowing to us right now, that I feel on a collective level, is to remove these blocks and these hang-ups. And you might think it's very unrelated, but it's all related. If you got sexual hang-ups, don't think that it's detached from any of this. It is very much a part of it. You cannot separate the two. They are creative energies that we need and use to create children and to give birth to ideas and relationships and realities.
Right.
Whatever it is you're here to do, to give birth to a conversation. Every time you breathe, you're being penetrated by wind and you're being, and then you're exhaling, and then you're allowing that to go, that breath to be surrendered. The first thing that you do when you're born is you take a breath in, you inhale, right? And then when you die, before you die, what do? You take a deep exhale. And so just slowing down and paying attention to the intelligence of your body and your breath.
That's amazing.
Feeling the sensations in your body, just sitting with yourself, asking yourself, how do I feel? To be so in tune at all times of the day. You know how you're feeling. You know what you want. You know what you don't want. Like, this is where clarity comes from. We have to slow down. The world is moving so fast. And the faster technology gets, the faster the world moves. And we get caught up in that. And we get caught up running as fast as everybody else.
Yeah.
And you have to have a moment where you just stop and slow down.
Yeah, that is so true. That's so vital. Then, you know, on some more advanced stuff, we got to the place to where we begin to trigger ourselves. We talked about being up for challenges. We know that we know that we have we have these birthing traumas that will surface, you know what I'm saying? But we also, you know what I'm saying, we also say, you know what, to help us and to make sure that we really know and experience and know what we know, then we begin to challenge one another. And so some of you may be at that point to where you challenge yourself. You know what I'm saying? You challenge yourself with experience. You put yourself in situations that will trigger you. Whatever your triggers are, you put yourself in those situations so you can.
And when he say put yourself, he mean not like go and just start in situation, but just when things happen to not go into that programming of avoidance. So it was more so to allow yourself to be in situations so that you can see where you are with how you respond and react. But if we're in a place of avoidance and running, which we all get in, especially those of us who have complex PTSD from our, you know, from our trauma, which I believe everybody that went through a spiritual awakening does, because that's what catapulted us into all of this shit. All of this what seemed to be weird shit, you know? It was pain, trauma, and suffering, and hurt, and loss, and grief, and confusion, and questions that could not be answered. So just being more allowing, taking a chance, taking a stake, taking strategic risk, and allowing. And trying not to use your coping mechanisms to deflect situations. Just try to deal with them differently each time. We're here to learn. So through trial and error, we will continue to evolve. So could you read the wave spell for today before we get off? And before I forget, I finally made the dream elixir, and I made it available to my family, and you know, and we kind of just been testing it out. I think it's ready. Some of you have messaged me and was like, if you have something like that I can take internally, like an elixir. And so like for the last year, I've just been studying transferring crystal energy into liquids and things like that to kind of perfect the process. I feel like I have the process perfected now, so I may do a whole separate video just about both of these elixirs.
Yeah, we will.
We're about to release. So just be on the lookout, because the first quantity is going to be limited. But we're going to release 2 elixirs. The Let's Get Lucid elixir, which is an elixir to open your third eye. And we're also going to have the Dark Crystal elixir, which is an elixir that helps with a lot of other stuff that I can't say too much yet. So just be on the lookout on the website for this, and we will be on vacation for a little while. So if you messaged us and it's taken us a moment to get back with you, just bear with us because we are going to take a family vacation this coming week. So yes, I just wanted to interject that so I don't forget. Before we get off, we want to go over the energy for today based on the Mayan calendar. And you can read this out loud, and this also helps to seal your energy. This helps to balance out your macabre and the programs that are being allowed to enter into your auric field and the programs that are being purged. So whenever you're tapping into this harmony, this frequency of the Mayan calendar of 13 moons, you're tapping into that healing feminine energy that we've been lied about and given a whole different calendar just to take us out
Away
of
from
a different dimensional, vibrational space.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. We're reclaiming our power. Yes, reclaiming our essence. But today is a blue cosmic eagle. It's represented. The kin is 195, and it is I endure in order to create, transcending mind. I seal the output of vision with the cosmic tone of presence. I am guided by the power of self-generation.
Wow. Self-generation. To be guided by the power of self-generation. That like speaks of everything we just talked about.
Yeah.
That we have endured through so many trials and tribulations in order to be able to create deliberately, and that we are transcending our mind and allowing ourselves to be led by our hearts. That this cosmic tone of presence, learning how to be fully present, remember, that's a practice that me and Ernest have to do with each other, even to this day.
Yeah.
Practice being fully present, fully in your body, fully in control of your subtle energies.
Yeah.
So that's the energy for today. Thank y'all so much for joining us. Make sure that you go to the website because we will send out an email when we release the new products, the elixirs. And also, it's not too late to join the Crypto to Christos program. This program has helped people to tap into the spiritual realm so much better. They're able to hear better and receive messages and information from their shadow self and their spirit guides. So it is definitely beneficial. You can go and read the blog, read all about it. I took my time and wrote from the first detail to the last. So even though there are certain days that I said would be the best days to do these rituals on, that you can do them anytime. Okay?
Yeah.
So that is there. We also have all of the free classes and webinars that you can find from the homepage of the website. Check those out. And if you like it, then we have a part 2 that goes into more detail. That's the paid webinar or the paid class. So be sure to use these things because it takes so much work to put this stuff together and do this. And we hold ourselves to a high level of integrity to be giving people information that they can actually use to change their lives.
Yes.
So that's holding us accountable for what we put out and the work that we do. So, yeah, y'all already know what it is. I'm going to slide on out of here before I sound like...
Thanks to our moderator. Thanks, Angel Army. Thank you, Terica.
Yes. Ashe.
Thank you, One Miss Love and Life. Yeah.
One Miss Love and Life.
All y'all moderating.
Thank you. Everybody moderating.
Phil,
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing and communicating. And it's the openness, y'all. I'm telling you. It's the opening. There's power in being open. There's power in being surrendered. There's power in feeling uncomfortable energy and just surrendering under it. Try it out. Try it out. Do things that soothe you, but challenge yourself. Don't avoid. Don't run. Face it. Deal with it with love. You might be scared and all of that. You might feel anxious. That's okay. Just do it anyway. Breathe through it. We're learning. We're having the experiences we need to have to become more authentic. Okay? All right. Well, y'all already know what it is.
Man, your third eye has just been kissed. Peace.